Hola, niños, preterite stem changers. Al fin se durmió. Esta es mi oportunidad.
That baby's awesome.
That baby is awesome.
Wonder what she's going to do. All right, here we go. ¿Recuerdas? So this chapter, first you have to remember that we had all these stem changers, and I've had lots of students asking, where are the stem changers in the preterite? Well, here you go. You're going to remember that stem changers change into like a boot form in all forms except for nosotros and vosotros in the present tense. The good news is it's a little easier, less stem changing in the preterite, but it makes things a little more confusing. So we're going to have like preferir, pedir, dormir. Hopefully you remember the present tense stem changes. We're going to go over them a little in class.
Okay, so in the preterite, IR verbs like preferir, pedir, and dormir also have stem changes, but only in the usted, él, ella, and ustedes, ellos, ellas forms. In these forms, E changes to I and O changes to you. So we have some examples down here. Mi mamá se aburrió y se durmió durante la película. So dormir se, it's a stem changer, O to you in the third person singular and plural only. Mis padres prefirieron ver el concurso de belleza. It's a tough one to say. So E goes to I in the third person plural here. And then the last one, en la liga compitieron los mejores equipos de México. So again, this is going to be an E to I stem changer, and these stem change in the third person singular and plural only. And notice all these verbs here end in IR.
Here is the sheet that you should have known well by this point. So get that out. If you need to, you can pause us and come back. So at the bottom it says verbos flip-flop. Number 1. So we have two different kinds of flip-flop verbs, but these are our stem changing verbs in the preterite. And if you notice, they all have something in common. They're all IR verbs. First we have pedir, and if you notice, we call it a flip-flop because before we had boot verbs, but if we're staying with shoe wear, just the bottom part is going to be the flip-flop. And that's the part that changes the stem. So pedí, pediste, pidió, pedimos, pedisteis, pidieron. And we made the black letter I showing you where the stem change occurs. Dormir, dormí, dormiste, durmió, dormimos, dormisteis, durmieron. So these are all O to U, E in the present. They become O to U in the preterite. Preferir. And preferir is an E to I, E in the present, but it becomes an E to I in the preterite, just like pedir. Preferí, preferiste, prefirió, preferimos, preferisteis, and prefirieron. That is a nice, fun one to say. So the four important things to remember, and you might want to write a few of these down, are the only stem changes in the preterite occur with IR verbs. So all those AR and ER stem changes you had to know in the present do not exist in the preterite. Number 2, this only affects the third person él and ellos forms. Once again, that's the flip-flop part of it. Número 3, it's only a half stem change. So what we mean by that is in the present tense, when we went E to IE, now it's only E to I. And when we went O to UE, it's only O to U. So if you notice, it says here in the future, when we teach you a verb, it'll go E to IE, comma, I, which means IE in the present, I in the preterite. Número 4. Note that the accent marks occur in the yo, el, ella, and usted forms.
Okay, kids, so note the special spelling of the preterite forms reír. So reír is to laugh, and it's a hard verb. We'll expect you to be familiar with it. We won't test you on it. You might see it in some activities in your workbook. So there are the conjugations. Reí, reíste, rió, reímos, reísteis, rieron. And so reír is to laugh. It's conjugated just the way you see it on the screen. And then sonreír is to smile, and it is conjugated the same way. So just be aware of that, okay? So now here are other IR verbs with stem changes in the preterite tense. And I think it's important that you know what they mean. It's important to know what a verb means and how it works. So verbs like preferir, to prefer, are divertirse, to have fun. Notice it's reflexive. Mentir, to lie. Sentirse, to feel. Verbs like pedir, so with an E to I stem change in the third person singular and plural. Competir, to compete. Despedirse, to say goodbye. Repetir, to repeat. Seguir, to follow or continue. Servir, to serve. And vestirse, to get dressed. Now, we have another verb like dormir, which is O to you, third person singular and plural. Dormir is to sleep, morir, to die. And then reír and sonreír, you can see reír conjugated up above, and they are similar and difficult.
Yes, we'll try and avoid those on tests and quizzes.
I know, we're so nice.
Practica, your favorite time of every video. Text the answers to the following questions to your teacher's Google Voice number, or simply write the answer on a piece of paper or send us an email and hand them in class the next time you see us.
Write them down for me. Gracias, niños.
De nada. Oh, I just can't stop myself. Okay, here we go. Now it's time for practice. Now would be a perfect time for you to pause the video, make sure that you can answer all of these. If not, you know what to study. Número uno. El presidente de Cuba se murió. Notice that this is a reflexive verb, so you still have to keep the me, te, se in front of the verb, even in the preterite. And then the O changes to a U because it is the third person, so it's se murió. The president of Cuba died.
Qué triste.
Sí.
Número dos. El chico pidió el perrito caliente. Good choice. The boy ordered a hot dog. E to I.
Ella prefirió la sopa. She preferred the soup. Again, this one is a little confusing for some people because they go, there's two E's. Which one do I conjugate? It's always not conjugate, I'm sorry. Which one do I stem change? It's the one right before the ending. So the ending is IR. It's the E before, so it becomes prefirió.
Okay, número cuatro. Ustedes se durmieron en la clase.
Ay, ay, ay.
You all fell asleep in class. I cannot imagine why. Notice, reflexive again, O to you, stem change in the third person plural.
Ellos, well, I see that that's coming. It's again in the third person, so I'm going to have to do that stem change.
You are
Ellos
smart.
sirvieron comida a sus padres. E to I, stem change. They served food to their parents. How nice. Should talk to my kids.
Okay, número seis. Yo me divertí en la clase de español.
What happened to that stem change that we were learning about?
Well, Miss Dupes, it's the yo form. So if you notice, there is no stem change. Don't forget, kids, stem changes happen in IR, stem changing verbs in the preterite tense, and they happen in the third person singular and plural forms only.
I'm glad you taught me that before the quiz.
Yeah, that was a close one.
Yes, gracias. Okay, ustedes pidieron otro. You guys asked for more. Maybe not, but that's okay. So here's a joke involving pedir in the preterite. ¿Qué le pidió Batman a Batwoman? What did Batman ask Batwoman? El matrimonio. Matrimonio, by the way, in Espanol means marriage, but this one's patrimonio.
That's kind of silly because bat in Spanish is actually murciélago.
Yeah, that'd be a
For those of you that care.
Murciélago monio would be a long.
Murciélago monio.
Yeah. Oh well. Adios.